everyone. I hope you're having a nice Wednesday. Wednesday here on my channel means it's time for another Crack-A-Pack. And in these videos, I, of course, open up a pack of the latest set and talk about all the cards in a limited context and talk about which card I would pick first if this was a draft. You may be wondering who won the giveaway for all of May's cards, and the answer to that will be in the comments below, and that is because for this whole month of June, when this video is going up, I'm going to be traveling, and so I'm actually recording this well ahead of time during May. So I'll post in the comments shortly after this video goes live who won the giveaway, and unfortunately whoever wins it is going to get their prize a little later than usual because I'm traveling and not at home at this point. But they'll get it eventually. So anyway, let's go ahead and open this pack up and talk about it in the context of Limited. Alright, so our first common is Cartouche of Solidarity. This thing's fine. Any wide aggressive deck is happy to have it. It gives a relevant stat boost and gives you an extra body, but you don't want to be first picking it. It's fine. It's just not super strong or anything. Cartouche of Knowledge, I also don't want to be first picking, but I like it even more than Cartouche of Solidarity. It replaces itself in a bigger way than Cartouche of Solidarity does. Cartouche of Solidarity gives you a 1/1 creature token, which sort of mitigates against getting 2-for-1 if the creature you put the aura on dies later. Cartouche of Knowledge actually gives you a whole card and gives you flying, a much more evasive ability than First Strike. So I like it more. So right now, I guess it's what I'd first picked, but I've never first picked one, and I'm sure there's something better than that in this pack. Next, we have Nimbleblade Kenra, a perfectly reasonable 2-drop, especially in a deck that has, 11 or 12 non-creature spells. In decks with cartouches, actually. I've put in Cartouche of Knowledge and Nimbleblade Kenra as something I've done a few times in this format, and it has not upset me. But I also don't want to be first picking that. All right, now we're looking at a common I feel good about first picking, and that is Fanbearer. It's good at any stage of the game because it can tap stuff down, and that's awesome. So, it can tap down their best blocker or their best attacker. If you're on defense, it can help you. If you're on offense, it can help you. It's also a zombie, so adding that relevant creature type is also important. Fanbearer is our first pick right now. Next, we have Pouncing Cheetah, a perfectly reasonable green creature, but you can pick it up mid to late pack. And there are better 3-drops all over the place in this format. So again, not really something you want to be first picking. Okay, Soul Stinger is a card I first picked from time to time. I think Fanbearer is better, but I do want to talk about Soul Stinger. It's got a lot of flexibility. I love the design on all of these black-green -1/-1 counter cards. You can play him as a 4-mana 4/5 if you kill one of your other creatures, basically, or weaken it. Or you can play him as a 4-mana 2/3 who, when he dies, puts 2 -1/-1 counters wherever. And you can also he could come into play with his and then put even more -1/-1 counters on him with another creature, and then he really kills something. But he can get 2-for-1 sometimes, and sometimes he's just a big efficient creature. Both are nice scenarios, still not as good as Fanbearer. Next, we have Compulsory Rest. I know a few weeks ago in one of these Crack-A-Packs we had the Fanbearer Compulsory Rest thing go on, and people debated it some in the comments, and I think most people agreed Fanbearer over Compulsory Rest, and I agree, but Compulsory Rest is a first pickable card. It's just that we have a Fanbearer in this pack again, so we're going to take it instead. River Serpent is next. This is a card that I gave a D to in my limited review that did not deserve a D. It deserves at least a C. Cycling makes this card so much better, and if you're in a cycling deck, he's going to be able to attack most of the time when you cast him because you'll have thrown so many cards in your graveyard. Still, not a card I want to first pick. You can pick him up late, but he's a perfectly reasonable playable. He wears Cartouche of Knowledge quite well. He triggers cycling and so forth. We also have Horror of the Broken Lands, which is much better than River Serpent. It's a better creature on the face of it and also has a 1-colored cycling and is a cycling payoff in itself. For me, it's still behind Fanbearer and Compulsory Rest, though, in terms of what we would first pick in this pack. Next, we have Sun-Scorched Desert, which you should basically never play. If you've watched my draft videos, I think one is probably live already where I lost to Sun-Scorched Desert. I was up against a mono-red deck. My opponent was just blitzing me, and I had stabilized for several turns, and then my opponent played Sun-Scorched Desert and killed me, and it was brutal. But don't play it most of the time. If you're monocolored, maybe you play it because it's a land with upside, but all the other deserts do more than it does. Zenith Seeker is next. This guy's been kind of underwhelming. I've given some River Serpents flying with him a few times, but most of the time, he's just a 4-mana 2/2 flyer. A lot of the creatures you already have flying in this deck, but it's a fine card. You'll play it in a cycling deck, but it's not first pick quality at all. Next, we have Seraph of the Suns. I have not mainboarded one of these yet. I haven't ended up in like a white deck that was controlling enough for it, but I have sided it in and had it been fine against someone who had a bunch of flyers that it can just block forever. But it can be removed by -1/-1 counters, by the 2 exile effects at common and uncommon in this format, so it's not invulnerable. Still, we're on Fanbearer. Next, we're at Gale Strike. This is a card I like reasonably well in a tempo control kind of deck, but Fanbearer is still better. So our common is our best card so far. Gale Strike is solid. I like that it replaces itself while also putting your opponent back. And we opened up another bomb rare. I feel like I've done that on a lot of these, and it's going to be our first pick, and that is Insult to Injury. This thing's really good. You basically always want to play both halves in the same turn, because if you do that, it basically does 4 damage to a creature and to your opponent, and doubles all the damage your creatures are going to do. So it's a removal spell, gets maybe a good blocker out of the way, and makes all your creatures very difficult to block, but you also don't really want to take all the damage from. So it's a very hard card to play against. I've yet to draft one and had it pan out for me. I've drafted them and then red wasn't open, but I've had them cast on me, and I can tell you it's devastating. But in the end, we take Insult to Injury. In the comments below, don't forget to comment if you want to enter into the drawing for the month of June's Crack-A-Packs, which we'll have 3 more of course. So also, let me know what you would first pick out of this pack. It's another pack where I think it's a pretty clear-cut Insult to Injury, but let me know your thoughts on the other cards in the pack as well. Thanks for watching.